If you've ever shot film photography, you've probably come into a situation where you're on a trip or a project, and when you're finished, you realize you still have 5 or 10 exposures left on your roll. Then you're stuck with a conundrum where you need to take 5 or 10 photos of something or just risk wasting them, especially in this economy. And that's exactly what happened this past trip, where I just finished a project and I had about 10 exposures left of my Portra 400. And Portra is expensive film. So I decided to make use of it by waking up at 3 in the morning and going on a hike. So the area that I chose to go to is called Carver's Gap. It's right on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. It's very close to Roan Mountain, which is known for its rhododendron habitat. Those wildflower gardens with some beautiful colors and just a great landscape. The day before, I was checking the weather to make sure I wasn't gonna get covered by clouds or have heavy rain. Thankfully, there was no heavy rain in the forecast, and there was some elevated clouds, which is actually good for sunrise and sunset. The morning of, there was a 20% chance of rain, so I said fuck it and just go for it. The drive up was fine. It was dark, but it was only 2 hours away from where I live, which is Charlotte, so it was not bad at all. About 30 minutes before I got to the trailhead, it got completely covered in fog, which was probably gonna lift when the light comes out, but the closer I got to the trailhead, it started to rain harder and harder. By the time I was right up to the trailhead, it was absolutely pouring and it was completely dark and there was no one around. And then I basically got to the trailhead and it was just completely rained out. I was down pretty bad at this point. So I was just sitting there, ate a granola bar, and then I checked the forecast after like 10-15 minutes. And there was gonna be an hour of clearing right at sunrise. So I hurried up, grabbed my Nikon F3 with the 50mm and a 24mm lens, and I just went straight up the trailhead. The hike is pretty easy. It's only like 2 miles up, so that wasn't a problem. By the time I got up, the views were absolutely incredible. If you've ever chased sunrise or sunset, you know with the layers of clouds and the colors after a rainfall are beautiful. You got those really nice red and magenta hues. Out of the 10 exposures, I'd say I got 5 keepers. Looking at it now in hindsight, I wish I took more time with my compositions, and I wish I brought my tripod because I was shooting handheld and there was not a lot of light. So a lot of shots were a bit underexposed. Of course, there was only like an hour for me to hike up and compose my shots with the ever-changing colors and light. I just made the most of it. But overall, I'd say that was a very successful journey. I still cannot believe the views and the colors and just the environment that I was in. That is one of the most beautiful areas that I've seen, at least here in Western North Carolina. The following day, I decided to continue my streak of hiking and go to the Linville Gorge area in North Carolina. If you've ever been to North Carolina, you've probably heard of the Linville River Gorge in Pisgah National Forest. I mean, online it does say it is the Grand Canyon of the Eastern United States. But no, it's a beautiful area with very lush forestry, very strong greens, that Carolina green. You could either hike up to the top of the mountains and look at the area below, or you could hike down straight to the river, which is what I decided to do. It was a weekend, so there were a lot of people hiking, but I decided to do a pretty strenuous one, which the trail was just comprised of nothing but boulders the whole time. But that meant very little traffic, and I got some pretty incredible views of the river at the bottom. And I'm pretty excited of the photos I was able to take. Brought my Nikon F3 with the same lenses this time and roll of Portra 400. This time I did remember to bring a shutter release cable and a monopause so I could create better compositions instead of just going handheld. I'd say in this roll I got probably 8 or 9 keepers. Got rewarded with some pretty good photos that I'm excited about. I camped later that night as well in the Morganton area and got some pretty good long exposures at the campfire. I'd say this photo right here is portfolio worthy. I'm pretty excited about this photo. This one was taken on the monopod with a shutter release cable. I had the f-stop close all the way to f/13. And I believe it was a second, maybe 1.5 seconds long shutter. I didn't have an ND filter, so I couldn't go longer, but you can still see there's some good softness in the river and the clouds. I'm not always a fan of just like motion blurred landscape photos. I like there to be a little bit more sharpness in them. So I'm pretty happy about this. But I mean, what does it for me in this photo is just the amount of detail in highlights and shadows that the film stock is able to render. You can see the skies. It's a pretty pretty bright day, and obviously we were able to get some good details in the sky. But what impresses me the most is the details in the shadows in the trees are really nice. Again, just the colors that Portra 400 is able to render, that kind of like warm yellowish green, it really did a good job kind of portraying what it looked like that day. But yeah, I'm very happy with this photo. I took this on the wide 24mm lens, Nikon F3. I mean, yeah, very happy with this. But yeah, that should pretty much do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at the photos as much as I enjoyed going on the trip and taking them. And there will be many more to come. Peace.